Ryan Harris. You hear him on Westwood One. You see him, CBS Sports HQ, 10 years in the league, a Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl 50, my favorite one. You know why, Amal? Because it's not written in Roman numerals. It's very easy to read.
Yes.
Just the big L?
Yeah, no, I think it actually spelled out 5-0. If I'm not, am I right about that, Ryan? How's it going, man?
It's the only ring with numbers on it because we weren't going to put L on a Super Bowl ring. Come on. It's against the Geneva Convention. Get out of here.
I didn't even think. By the way, do you guys know this conspiracy that the last few Super Bowls, the logo has had the colors of the two teams that have met in it, and the logo is made well in advance? This year's logo is purple and red in Las Vegas, where we sit, Ryan, and the red would be for the 49ers. I need to ask you about this because you played in the Mike Shanahan system, and Kyle has done something completely different with it, flipped it on its head. What are you seeing from this 49ers offense at the moment, the way Brock Purdy is clicking, what they're doing with McCaffrey, it's Kittle, it's Debo? Like, what is it from a football perspective, someone who's played in that system, what is it that they're excelling at the moment?
Well, first and foremost, they have phenomenal talent, right? I mean, who's getting the ball? Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, or Kittle? Who do you want to get the ball, right? So, and not to mention Brandon Ayuk, who I think at one point in the season, a quarter of his catches were going for first down. So you've got incredible talent. And also that talent does not care about the numbers. Guys, it is so hard in the NFL to get players to buy into the fact that, hey, Dave, if I sacrifice for you, now Amal's going to sacrifice for me. So that's the greatest thing the 49ers have, talent that is willing to serve the other team members on the team. And secondly, the biggest thing that the 49ers do, in addition to running the ball consistently, is that they use this kind of short motion from the slot out. And you've seen Miami pick that up. You've seen a couple other teams pick that up. The Chiefs have picked it up as of late. And that's a new wrinkle to that West Coast system. And so instead of bringing a player like you'll see a Jerry Jeudy or sometimes Debo Samuel will motion across and loop behind the quarterback and then wait out at the flat, now they're taking a Debo Samuel and instead they're starting him at the slot and right before the snap, which one cautions the defense. They think the ball is snapped, so now they're hesitating. And two, you're making the linebackers and defensive backs communicate because Debo Samuels is moving. Everybody needs to know that. And, oh, by the way, Debo's not getting the ball. Right? So that's what Kyle Shanahan is doing in that San Francisco 49ers offense, because now you are going to get the ball from Debo Samuel, or maybe it's man and that person in slot follows Debo out. Now you have George Kittle with an in route right to where that linebacker or person covering him was, and it's tremendous amount of options. And then before the snap, Brock Purdy knows what the defense is doing, so he knows who's getting the football.
Ryan, when you look at this Jacksonville Jaguars, we were discussing earlier that it looks like Trevor Lawrence is the guy for them. Are you a buyer and a believer in him, or is there something else that just seems to be lacking from him that hasn't allowed this team to kind of get over the top? They're in a three-way tie for first place with two teams that are starting backup quarterbacks this weekend.
Well, I'll tell you something. Trevor Lawrence is the guy. He's bona fide. He's playing his best football of the season. And when I look at it, his health is just the biggest thing. And look, that's a big thing for a lot of young players. Guys, when I was young, I had veterans tell me, take care of your body, take care of your body. It's like, yeah, right. I never did that in college. I'm not going to need to. And then by the end of my career, I'm doing yoga twice a week. I'm getting massages on my calves and feet and things like that to make sure my muscles are ready. That's the next step for Trevor Lawrence. But these Jacksonville Jaguars, you forget, they were down, I think it was like 21 points in the playoffs at home last year and came back to win. Not only that, they destroyed the Chargers and Brandon Staley for the rest of Brandon Staley's tenure. Think about that. And by the way, Doug Peterson, head coach of the Jaguars, is your favorite coach's favorite coach. I had him when I was in Kansas City and for a spell there in Philadelphia. Guys, he walks into the meeting room. He's got his visor on. He'd be like, hey, Dave, you're going to love this play in the red zone. We're going to get you a touchdown this year. Hey, Amal, we got the first play of the game coming out to you. You're going to love it. And then he walks past you. So this is a great coach with a talented team. They got Ridley for a steal, and they're continuing to build together. It's not going to flip over in 1 year, but they're at the top right now in the AFC, and they're looking down on a lot of the rest of the teams who are still fighting to get to the playoffs. This is a phenomenal Jaguars team who is dangerous.
Ryan Harris, our guest, Dustin, Swedelson, Amal, Shah, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. You hear him on Westwood One. You see him, CBS Sports HQ. You mentioned your time with Peterson in KC. Obviously, Andy Reid was the head coach there. What is it that makes Andy Reid such a great play designer? And can he somehow design something up for this offense right now with the lack of trust that they have on the outside with these receivers? Is it possible to scheme this offense back to the Super Bowl?
Absolutely, this offense can go back to the Super Bowl, and it's because of what makes Andy Reid so great. He is a leader and a champion who's still willing to learn. How many of us know people that are in a spot and, I know how this goes. I know how this goes. That's not Andy Reid. I mean, he'd come up at lunch to players, to quarterbacks, and say, hey, I looked at this play. I saw this play ran. What do you think about it? And a player can say, I like this. I like that. Let's do it. And you're like, okay, we're going to put it in the game plan. I mean, think about when they won their first Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes, that big pass to Tyreek Hill, he had been waiting on that for 3.5 quarters. And so not only will Coach Reid, a future Hall of Famer, continue to learn and continue to watch the NFL, but he's also going to hang on to his best stuff because he knows, like every champion knows, nobody cares what your record in September is. Nobody cares what your record in October is. You have to be healthy and playing your best football in January and early February. So what he has done and what Patrick Mahomes has done, to Patrick Mahomes' credit, they've tried to develop everyone not named Travis Kelce on that offense. Rashee Rice has benefited from that. Isaiah Pacheco's benefited from that. So this Chiefs team, who, by the way, is still first in the AFC West, is right where they want to be for the schedule that they want to play in winning a Super Bowl in February.
Ryan, the Miami Dolphins have had a great season offensively. Are you a firm believer in this team? Can they hold on and win this division?
I'm not a firm believer in the Dolphins. They're great, and then there's boom or bust. And anytime there's boom or bust, that tells me two things. One, the coach does not know how to get consistent production out of his team. And two, that you have players who are distracted. And look, every single one of us who's been to South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, it is distracting for a variety of reasons. And that can't be an excuse to lose a championship. They have the defense and the offense to win a championship. But to me, the Dolphins seem like a team who's gotten there a little too early. They're going to have to suffer some more pain before they eventually come together and say, look, guys, it doesn't matter when your family's coming in. You gotta bring them in on Saturday. Your family's a distraction. Your friends are a distraction. Your relationships can be a distraction at certain times. We need everybody bought in. And even the little fact that Tyreek Hill said he called his wife at the time when he had that ankle injury at halftime. Look, if you had a phone on in the locker room with Ben Roethlisberger or Peyton Manning, it would be broken, not by them, but by other players who understood what the two leaders wanted. So to me, Miami's a great team that's distracted and is not going to pay attention to the details of the situations that will come up in the playoff games they face.
Ryan, you played college football at Notre Dame, went to the NFL. Does it help you coming from a major program like a Notre Dame, a Michigan, Alabama, and Ohio State, where there's a tremendous spotlight? And when you go to the league, the spotlight is similar. Obviously, it's brighter. But it feels like that it would be an easier transition because the day you step on the campus in South Bend, there is immense pressure on you.
I mean, absolutely it helped to go to Notre Dame. And not in the way that people think in terms of the pressure. Because, yes, you're right. That is a piece of it. And pressure meaning you didn't know that somebody in Minnesota saw you play the football game in Los Angeles against USC, right? But that's what happens at Notre Dame. But the other thing that people miss all the time, guys, even at Michigan, they're not selling out every game, right? At USC, they're not selling out every game. So even Georgia and Alabama, man, now they might now with some of the success. But at Notre Dame, you're used to a loud stadium everywhere you go. And that's the number one thing that shocks young players in the NFL, the amount of attention in every stadium they go to, right? Like if you came from University of Miami this year outside of Florida, you probably didn't have a packed stadium one time. And you're getting ready to play in 17 packed stadiums, 2 of them at a decibel level that's going to affect your hearing the rest of your life. So absolutely, in addition to the knowledge that people are watching you and you're going to see your success and failures, did it help going to Notre Dame? But it also helped to go to Notre Dame because every stadium I played in was packed to the rim, and that's what you're going to get in the NFL.
Ryan, there was a great shot because Dustin is a Hurricanes fan.
I am a Miami fan, and things are not going well. I don't like to admit it lately to people the last few years. It really has not been pretty. I actually long for Ja'Cory Harris, if that lets you know how bad things have gotten. Ryan, that was awesome. We got to do it again. Absolutely knocked it out of the park. Tremendous insight. Hope you and the family have a great Christmas, man.
Thanks. You too. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you. You as well. Appreciate the time.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.